1/1/2012 at 1:12 a.m. I had sent her a message. Wish you Happy New Year. My desktop wallpaper, white Mercedes 6.3 AMG Roadster, was appearing blurry. The sounds of crackers and the tones of people on the roads cheering Happy New Year seemed way more than audible. In fact, their cheers were making my eyes bubble with tears. Everything appeared uncomfortable. My eyes, my black bodywear, and the chair I had sat. Wiping my obese eyes, I saw 1:25 a.m. on the taskbar of my thin monitor. I changed my dress and closed the windows for a couple of reasons. Placing a cushion on the chair, I sat against it. My head leaned towards right, my eyelids drooped, and I slid down. I couldn't blame my soft cushion for my slide. I wasn't imagining anyone except her. As I opened my eyes, I saw a bunch of blank papers resting against my big black CPU. Please don't ask me why. It's okay. I shall narrate. 2 years ago, I had purchased a printer for Rs 8,999 with 1-year warranty. Couple of months back, it fell ill. As I took it to the service center, a young black guy informed me that it costs Rs 3,700 to bring it back to its healthy state. Now, what did I do? I did exactly what a typical 24-year-old guy does in the 21st century in India. Saying thank you to that idiot, I threw it in my garage. The story of my printer ends here, but not that of my printer's papers. Picking one, I imagined how beautiful it would have been if someone's life is blank. No happiness, no sorrows, no love, no grief, no enthusiasm, no ego, no feelings, and nothing. Watching the smooth paper in my right hand and my old iPhone in the other, expecting a reply message from my beautiful lady, I had become an instant philosopher. I didn't receive a reply. Tossing my phone onto the table, I continued my philosophy. Leaning, I rested my forehead against the edge of the table. My eyes were still on the paper, and I simply couldn't control my emotions. Tears began to dribble onto the paper, with my shadow still on it. I continued staring at the soaked paper, thinking, if not my tears, at least let the paper say something about her. Beautiful smile, mystical eyes, intoxicating fragrance, ultra-feminine voice, dark chocolates, and how much I loved my lady, and how badly I'm missing her. Very next moment, I picked up the uncapped black pen. I started thinking, what shall I write? A song? Poem? Letter? Novel? Or a drawing? My enthusiasm dropped in drawing, as I wasn't simply interested. Also, it had been a while since I had drawn something extraordinary, apart from my lady's beauty. Hence, my imaginations were confined to the words of English literature. I felt anxious, thinking, I'm not exceptional in English. I hadn't read a novel in my entire life, apart from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar as an English academic book in 10th grade ICSE 2003. The only real experience I had was a few pages of a white obese novel with my lovely lady. In fact, I had heard from my lady love, friends, and English teacher that writers use vague words to narrate their world. But I was brought up in a different environment, an academic alpha atmosphere with an addition of sports and fun. I was serious with my career and built one by the age of 24. All my leisure time involved traveling, racing, movies, music, cricket, video gaming, watching F1, MotoGP, and tennis. I shut my eyes. Uncapped pen in my right hand, paper on the table. Deep dilemma in my heart, whether to write. To be honest, there was fear of shyness. Amidst opening my eyes, my white iPhone pulled my attention, which reminded me of a second-hand quote recited by my colleague, come guide, come senior, come bearer, come news enthusiast. The quote was something like, "Sorry, I'm unable to construct and chant under the influence of alcohol, but I shall narrate it later, I swear." The feelings that the quote conveyed was what I had felt a week back when I faced a near-death experience. And there was no looking back in terms of expressing my humble feelings on the partially soaked, salty paper. Amidst following pages, your lips may stretch, your soul may sing, your foot may tap, but promise me, you won't weep. Act 1, An Epic Journey. 18th November 2011, Inspirational Friday. I still remember, it was noon. Months had been passed since I had officially become junior doctor after my apprentice. The enthusiasm of the Nova tag had completely sunk, but I wanted to become a pediatrician or an orthopedician. Both branches were like two eyes to me. I was evenly interested and equally passionate. Obviously, I was confused as I had to stick to the same branch for the rest of my life, so I didn't want to rush things and regret later. Meanwhile, I had become ready to work as a junior doctor and think along about my post-graduation in USA. It was after my Friday prayers I decided that there would be no way if I keep on thinking like this. I shall work for a while and follow my instincts. I shall share a secret. Healthcare industry is such a unique field. There is always a demand. Right from doctors to nurses, qualified pharmacists to experienced lab technicians, skillful ambulance drivers to punctual ward boys. Doctors, they are the cream of demand. Hence, I made a call to one of my college friends to inquire regarding any vacancies. I scribbled down the names of few hospitals. He insisted me to prepare a tidy curriculum vitae and carry academic certificates. I replied that I would go tomorrow and call him later. I got super excited thinking about my first job. For the first time, I prepared a CV. Inspecting few times, I polished it even further. By the time CV started sparkling, it was 8 p.m. on my taskbar. I had to do other things, polish my dusty black shoes and other chores, as I knew first impression is the best impression, which my English teacher had taught me. I had an upper middle class dinner at 11 p.m. Recently, a bad habit of waking up late in the mornings had intruded me. Hence, while going to bed, I motivated myself that I would reach hospital at 10 a.m. Picking my 5-alarmed phone, I set the first one at 8 a.m. and the last one at 9 a.m. as I had my own equations to deal with. On the comfortable bed too, I was excited about the first interview of my life. The cold night too was making me anxious. I pulled my obese blanket from my cold soles to thick hairy scalp. With proper warmth, my brain began to work. Under the black fur, I practiced the gestures and the body languages. I recollected vast subject which I had learned from the past 5 years for the following precious day. Amidst deep process, as I punched my mobile, I saw 12:48:36 a.m., 12:48:37 a.m. Seeing the seconds swindling by, I tucked my phone under the pillow. Clenching my teeth, I opposed my eyelids and I was gone. As I opened my eyes, a bright morning was evident. Rolling my left wrist, I saw noon. Nodding, I cursed myself for getting up late in spite of so much enthusiasm 12 hours ago. I had a quick warm shower. At the lunchtime, I had a humble breakfast. By the time my strong body and slim belly were satisfied, it was 2:30. Storing the CV in my pen drive, I descended from the first floor. Frankly, I shall not narrate my own lonely home, as it has nothing to do with my lovely lady. I ignited my bike for the big day. Mixture of anxiety and enthusiasm were flowing into my mind. As guided by my friend, I drove towards the hospital. There was huge traffic on the roads of Hyderabad. Parking my bike, I rolled my eyes towards the speedometer. The trip read 7 kilometers. After asking many strangers, I reached the reception counter of the hospital. Young lady sitting behind the counter. Sir, may I help you? Thick hairy scalp. I'm a junior doctor. I've come here for an interview. Smiling. Sir, second floor, corner room. Room number 216. Resident medical officer, sir's room. Pointing her brown index finger towards left. Thank you. Walking towards her finger, I saw a manual escalator and a lift. The lift screen demonstrated 9. Sensing the reality, I marched towards the manual escalator. Staring at the unnamed, untimed paintings hung on the cream-colored wall, I ascended. Adjusting my white formal shirt, tidy trousers, shining shoes, I reached the second floor. Anxious levels were at the apex. Enthusiasm, too, was accompanying the yester one. Arriving at the brown wooden door, I took a deep breath. As I rose my pink palm to knock, the heavy door opened. A young lady exited between the brown and pink. I don't remember how she looked like, as I had my own situations to deal with. I waited for the hydraulic door to close. Again, I rose my palm. Knocking the smooth door, I pushed. Entering, I saw an ultra-obese black man with thin moustache just above his black cigarette lip and with a bunch of duplicate black hairs on his scalp. He was sporting a gold-plated spectacles at the tip of his big black nose. Signing mysterious papers, he seemed busy. Non-cigarette lips murmured, "Excuse me, sir." Raising his eyelids, "Yes." "Sir, I'm Dr. Samir. I've completed my MBBS, Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, few months ago. I have come here for a job as a junior doctor." The sentence was practiced to utmost perfection. Nodding, he rose his duplicate black eyebrows and asked me to take a seat. Sitting, I said, "Thank you, sir," and threw a gentle smile on his wrinkled face. Continuing scribbling, "Your CV, doctor." Unfolding the CV, I gave a last glance. Fortunately, I found that I had forgotten to sign at the end under "Yours sincerely." Pulling my pen, I signed in a flash. I stood up as a mark of respect. "Sir." The black man placed his green pen down. He went through my light CV and my heavy certificates. Again, his eyebrows rose. Maybe he was impressed by my percentages. I had scored 86% in my 10th grade, 94% in 12th, and 73% in graduation. He placed my CV and certificates on the table beside the bronze medal that read Dr. Vishwanathan, RMO. I hopped my eyes from bronze medal to gold-plated spectacles through which Dr. Vishwa had seen my papers. And now started my first interview. He asked about myself, my college, my schooling. Later he shifted towards the subject. I answered well regarding the subject. Soon I realized that his brain had gone blunt as the conversation shifted back from the subject to myself. I understood that I might get a job here. Leaning his old back against the comfortable chair, he pulled the lowermost drawer of his brown, shining wooden table. He pointed a paper towards, gesturing me to take. I rose again. Receiving the paper with my right hand, I saw towards. On the top was printed, "Appointment letter." Seeing it, I was floating on the ninth heaven. I think any human species could understand the feeling of the first appointment letter. Rather, I had to control my emotions. The old man was normal. Amidst filling the paper, my hand jiggled. At the bottom of the paper, there was a separate column, working period, which I left blank. Obviously, I had no idea what to fill in the column, as I knew my visa process for USA for higher studies would take months. I had heard from my uncle that few officers in US consulate suffer from unusual paranoia. Hence, I left it blank and signed at the bottom of the page. Pointing the paper, I rose. "Sir." Amidst verification, he laid his spectacles at the bottommost part of the paper. I understood. "Don't you know how long you want to work here?" I smiled to calm him. "I haven't decided, sir. Maybe a year?" 60-year-old hairy ears got convinced by a 24-year-old tender tongue. You could have written it here, pointing the paper. Again, raising the comfortable chair, I wrote, 1 year, in a flash. I admit, I gazed one last time at my appointment letter before handing over. So, doctor, how much are you expecting per month? Sir, I'm a fresher. Your wish. Smiling, he scribbled something on the top right corner of the paper. He parted the top paper from the bottom one. There was a carbon copy beneath. My eyebrows rose as I had failed to recognize. Also, I had my emotions and feelings to deal with. He handed the original copy to me. Of course, I rose to receive. I saw ₹30,000. His green signature and the date 20/11/11. So, what timings do you want, doctor? I'm sorry, sir. I don't know the timings. Nodding. There would be 2 shifts. Morning shift 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, with weekly 1 holiday. The night shift 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. every alternate night. No holiday. Any 21st century guy would prefer the night shift because of its freedom every alternate night. I too was no exception. Night shift, sir. You're late, doctor. There was 1 vacancy for night shift. Just now a girl came and took it. If you want, I have vacancy for morning shift. I thought 9 a.m. is the time where I would be in deep sleep with different dreams rolling across my eyes. So, I'm not comfortable with the day job. As there was acute immediate shortage of junior doctors for day duties, which I later came to know from Dr. Ruman, which were convinced, comforted and persuaded, as and when night vacancy is available, I shall shift you. Reluctantly, I nodded. Yes, sir. But I was wondering, would I be able to do it? The old fatty didn't understand my dark problem. The way he was asking me to join, he sensed 100% confidence in me. He said, "Come from tomorrow." With due respect, I asked, "Sir, will you be there on Sunday?" Scratching his 45-year-old duplicate black thin mustache, "I shall come to show you the place where you would be working from tomorrow, and the description of job and other things." After hearing from the grey tongue, my thin dark brown forearms hair stood. I decided, no matter what, I shall come at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I got up. Leaning back, massaging his 6-decade-old black pot belly, no one knows everything in medical field. One keeps on learning. I guess that was the final advice of my first interview. How could I stop myself from not giving the old man an advice? After all, I was a 21st century young Indian guy. Nodding. "Sir, this is the first sentence that our professors taught us in our college." As I completed final advice of my first interview, I saw an instant expressionless face. I sensed I had enlightened Vishwa more than my comfort levels. Hence, I bowed. "Sir, may I leave?" Showing his 50-year-old teeth, "See you at 9. Saying, "Yes, sir," I left 216. My pink palms had gone wet. Plus, my mouth had become dry after the end of my first interview. Thinking, in spite of having so many resolutions in the past, I haven't woke up before 9. Now, how would I? But happiness of getting a job overshadowed the tense situation in me. As I exited, the dusk had already arrived. The traffic and the vehicle's red rear color lights were at their peak. Amidst igniting my bike, a young security guy bowed, raising his hand, the Indian notion to ask money. I was already floating on the 9th heaven. Pulling my wallet, I gave an orange crisp 10-rupee note. Seeing Gandhi, his eyes glittered red. After receiving, his hand rose even further, and his lips stretched even wider. In the name of the following precious day, I headed towards home with outrageous enthusiasm. En route, I initiated making plans for tomorrow. I was always a man of foresight and action. After all, I was a doctor and son of a doctor. By the time I reached home, I was exhausted, facing my first interview and sneaking through the red traffic. I had a brief yet powerful nap. As I woke up, I found 3 missed calls from my friend, Dr. Krish. I shall narrate him in brief. He is dark brown, obese, well known for his sarcastic philosophy among our friend circle. I, he, and a bunch of other friends hang out regularly at the brighter places in the darker times. We were kind of persons who had strong friendship among ourselves. We rarely made new friends because of various reasons, studies, college, work, and already had ample number of friends from schooling and neighborhood. But once we found someone interesting and valuable, we would continue. I presumed why he had called me. I sat still, thinking, I'm going to invent an excuse. Otherwise, I would be gone. Nothing was coming into my tired mind, hence I adhered to my usual excuse, fever, cough and headache. It's very funny. We were doctors, but our excuses were bloody lame. I guess we weren't even enough room to make excuses with our male friends. Darling, I spoke in a low tone. Dude, I'm having headache. Okay, take rest. Pinch of sarcasm was evident. Even hypothetically, you might not suffer from headache. Laughing, Dude, I'm sorry. I have some work. All right. I'm going to Avinash's birthday party. We shall meet some other day. Bye. I too replied and hung up. I didn't reveal him because I just didn't want to. Soon I began planning for tomorrow's duty. I got everything ready, from shoes to socks, shirts to trousers. By then, it was 11. I thought it would be better to go early to bed. I switched on all the 5 alarms like yesterday, but from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. I was pretty much serious this time. I laid, but couldn't sleep. Maybe because of Saturday night euphoria, the same mood forced me to punch my mobile. Soon, it started playing mixture of rock, pop, and romantic albums. Amidst some random song, I was gone into the darkness of Saturday. 20th November, Sunday, first glimpse. I got up towards right side, which is my childhood habit. Extending the elbows, yawning, freeing the body, I opened my eyes towards the clock. Seeing 9:30, I astounded. Holy God! I couldn't possibly believe what had happened yesterday night. But I was damn sure it wasn't hangover. I reached my phone resting beside the pillow. I punched the screen, but it didn't respond. I realized it might have died somewhere in the wake of AM. Amidst playing some seducing song, I cursed myself with bad words. Idiot, moron, bloody stupid. First day of the job, how lazy I was while it came to waking up in the chilly snowing morning, I thought. No matter what, I might never ever wake up before 9. As a result of continuous cursing, I recovered. Rolling my eyes, I saw a short hand of the clock on the long hand. Nodding, I got up and had a swift shower. By the time I was super ready, it was 10. I didn't care about the breakfast. Hurry, hurry, I picked my half-charged phone, bag and keys. Descending, I headed towards my bike. A humble hope in my heart was whispering that everything would go more than fine. I drove towards the main road. There was barely any vehicles on the road. My eyebrows rose, realizing Sunday. As I drove faster, taking complete advantage of barren roads, my hands began to shiver. My face got paler and paler with gush of ultra-cold air swirling into my nostrils. Even my mouth wasn't spared, as it was getting dry in due course of time. Cruising towards the hospital involved riding on the border of a popular man-made lake, Hussain Sagar, with Buddha's statue in the center. Unfortunately, I saw only Buddha's back, as the road to Buddha's front takes a different course. By the time I reached the hydraulic door, it was 10:43 a.m. Amidst gasping, I took a deep gush of warm air and knocked. "Come in." Pushing the door, I saw Vishwa sitting on the same red chair. He was staring at a 20-centimeter notebook in front of him, through his hypermetropic spectacles. "Good morning, sir." He rose his head to look at me and further rose to gaze to see something above my head. "What time is it?" Turning around, I lifted my chin for obvious reasons. To my bad luck, the time in the wall clock was more than 10:30, 15 minutes faster than actual time. I couldn't say anything. With my dry, parted mouth, I stood still. "I had come here at 8:30 for you, and you come 2 hours late?" "So, I took the wrong bus. Actually, I got confused. I didn't know the exact route. But I knew every speed breaker of all major roads of Hyderabad." Descending his beastly eyes, nodding, No. I thought, my instant excuse hasn't convinced this fatty. He enlightened. There must be some sort of punctuality along with knowledge in one's life. As I heard those words flow from his black lips, I confirmed that I had impressed him yesterday. "But today?" he continued. "You're late. I can't accommodate you in my block. I shall place you in B block." I had no idea what he was preaching. I was just nodding my head like a rock star listening to rocket science, murmuring, "Yes, sir," at the end of every meaningless sentence he spoke. "What, yes, sir," gesturing. I wasn't punctual. Standing still, I lowered my gaze from the spectacles to the tiny book as mark of regret. Abandoning his enlightenment, he tried to insert his hand into his narrow pocket in search of some mysterious object. The black trouser was way beyond tight to accommodate his big right hand while sitting. Again, he resumed preaching. But now my attention was on his hand. Reluctantly, he stood up and pulled out something. Holy God! It was his bloody black old phone. I was enjoying the incident internally, but continued nodding externally. Seriousness in my face. Seeing through his spectacles, he punched few buttons. I was a busy man staring at the scratches on the lens of VGA camera phone. Adhering mobile to his black ear. "Dr. Ruman, where are you?" Okay. My eyes were still on his wrinkled forehead. "Come to my room and bring the protocol paper with you." After ending the call, he resumed giving lectures and lessons, which I don't remember now. Amidst education, I heard a knock. As I turned my nose from the big black face towards the big brown door, I saw a guy. He was wearing an apron and rimless spectacles. The guy was of my height, 5'9". He was fairer than me but had sparsely arranged curly black hairs over his glowing scalp. I couldn't count, maybe 10,000, 10K. "Good morning, sir." "Dr. Raymond, very good morning." 10K handed over a white paper, I guess the protocol paper. After glancing, the old man pointed towards. "Read it." I started reading sincerely. Novocare Multi-Speciality Hospital. Protocols for junior doctors for day shift. 1. Junior doctors should arrive at 9 a.m. 15 minutes of lag time is allowed for up to 4 days in a month. After 4 days, a quarter of each day's salary would be deducted for each late coming. 2. Junior doctors act as bridges between senior doctors, specialists, and patients. Specialists shall do patient rounds once a day. In case of emergency, junior doctors shall take immediate responsibility, assist nurses, and call the specialists for further assistance. 3. Junior doctors are advised to dress sensibly. Gents, a formal wear. Ladies, saris, churidars, salwar kameez. 4. A new apron and stethoscope would be provided by the hospital at a nominal cost. The amount would be deducted from the first salary along with other expenses. Cost of an apron, ₹700. Cost of a stethoscope, ₹2,800. Canteen expenses per month, ₹1,200. 5. Irrespective of joining date, the number of days worked would be counted on every 25th of the month. The salary would be transferred into the account on 5th of the succeeding month via online. 6. Junior doctors are allowed to take 4 casual leaves, CLs, in a month, including Sundays. After casual leaves, each day would be considered as LOP, loss of pay. No exception whatsoever. Salary would be credited only on the submission of the reporting paper to the RMO. 7. Lunchtime is from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. 8. Junior doctor has to do patient rounds and write patient conditions in the respective case sheets before 11 a.m. At 12 p.m., hospital administrator conducts rounds. You are instructed to accompany the administrator. 9. All the best. For further queries, please contact RMO, room number 216. Understood. I nodded little less, like a young Air Force pilot. Welcome to the job. Vishwa turned towards 10K and introduced me indirectly. This is our new junior doctor. Take him to your block and explain him the description of job. He is a fresh graduate, just completed his apprentice. One more thing. Take him to accounts section and ask them to give Dr. Samir an apron and a stethoscope. He turned towards me. As it's your first day, I'm placing you under Dr. Ruman. Saying, yes sir, okay sir, we both left 216. I and this guy were walking towards B block, I guess. So, you are Dr. Samir. I'm Dr. Ruman. Walking, we both shook our hands. He asked, where did you graduate from? From here itself, Hyderabad. You? From China, the great socialist country. By the time our conversation grew, blew and flew, we halted at a marvelous building with glasses all around. I have to admit the utter truth. Modern buildings simply inspire me. On the glasses, I saw Novacare Multispeciality Hospital, B block, in bold white letters. Climbing 10 stairs, we walked into the building. I saw a reception desk with "May I help you" board on it. Sitting behind the desk, a couple of young ladies with half a kilo talcum powder started smiling towards 10K. A small, healthy domestic plant was present in front of the desk, thriving amongst the various living and non-living objects. To my left, I saw a battalion of stainless steel chairs arranged for patients, patient visitors, visitors. To my right, I saw an ultra-modern lift and stairs. Pointing his fair finger towards, we shall take stairs. I said okay, and we continued our journey. Soon, Ruman became my guide, showing various sceneries of the building. As we reached first floor, this is outpatient floor. I nodded, watching names of specialists and their long degrees. MBBS, DNB, MD, MS, DM, MCH. I didn't care, as I knew one fine day I too would have such long degrees with grey hairs on my scalp. It is all a matter of time. We resumed our journey. This is second floor. This floor is for investigations and diagnosis of diseases. And that is coffee day. This block doesn't have canteen, instead it has a coffee day. Watching the small tables, wooden chairs and bizarre paintings of coffee day, I resumed nodding. We ascended. This is third floor. We have private and semi-private rooms here. Private, 1 patient, 1 room. Semi-private, 2 patients, 1 room. My eyebrows rose. We walked through the central pavement of the third floor. It was like walking through the central pavement of a posh hotel. Closed teak doors on either side with gold-plated numbers. Empty stomach started scratching my brain. Why are we going this way? The administration has allotted one of the semi-private rooms of the third floor to the junior doctors. Amidst explanation, my guide halted. This is junior doctor's room. And this is our room. Room number 309. You can keep your belongings, but not your valuable ones, winking. Pushing 309, he walked in. I too followed my guide, watching his back and 10K. The room was well furnished. After all, it was a corporate hospital. The room had a partition made of plywood and aluminium. The A division towards door had 2 beds placed wide apart. Examining the quality of the plywood and smoothness of aluminium, I marched ahead. I saw B division with 2 beds placed apart. A chair and a small study table was placed between 2 beds. I saw a white telephone on the study table. There was a common LCD TV hung in the middle, I guess, targeting A and B divisions. My eyebrows rose, thinking, what an ingenious way to cut costs. Crooky corporate culture. Below the thin TV, I saw a long table adhered to the cream wall. There were 3 bags on the table. One was a black backpack bag, I presume 10Ks. 2 lady handbags, of which one was white and the other was blue. Beside the white bag, I saw a pink lunchbox and a green water bottle. A 3-star Japanese AC was hung in the B division. My guide cum senior cum first colleague sat on one of the beds in B division. He asked me to wear dazzling white apron and uncover brand new stethoscope, which we had collected en route to B block. It was my first day. Obviously, I didn't know what to do and what not to. Plus, I was a bit tensed. So I had to listen to my guide's verdict. Placing my bag beside the backpack, I pulled out my accessories. Soon my guide became busy watching a news channel. On Sunday amidst job, and that too in the morning? I understood. This guy is more of an activist than a doctor. I'm ready? He didn't listen. His ears were adhered to a famous politician's speech, and his eyes attached to his gestures. I couldn't say anything. I sat on the other bed, thinking, what would happen? It was just that 10K was 100% comfortable, but I? After a while, rolling his rimless spectacles, shall we? I nodded, raising his index and middle, 2 minutes. He walked towards washroom beside the B division. I didn't say anything. I sat still like a statue with long remote on the opposite bed. I couldn't continue to bear the sound of freaking news channel in the wake of cold Sunday morning. So I did the obvious. I picked the black remote. Soon I started scanning channels, which is my childhood habit. Arrival of English music made me less anxious and super confident. My guide stepped out. I sensed some sort of relaxation on his face. Shall we go? Yeah, come. Exiting 309, I pulled my mobile to place it in a silent mode. Dumbfounded Rumen. Wow. Staring at my phone, not moving an inch ahead. He started placing his palm towards, gesturing me to give my phone. I handed over. With Nova-sparkled eyes, he began inspecting for a while like a monkey, asking, do you know the man behind this phone died few days back? Yeah, I heard. Do you know what he once said? Elevating my shoulders. What? 10K quoted. He once said, almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. My eyebrows rose, impressed by 10K's second-hand quote. Eventually, he came to conscious and handed over my phone. Soon, he started waving his hand in the mid-air, explaining, you see obstetrics and gynecology cases here? Okay. Ascending the chairs, we reached 4th floor. On the entrance, I saw a board that read Labor Room and OT Complex. 30 stainless steel chairs were placed in front of the operation complex, facing towards the stainless steel lift. I understood. 4th floor was exclusively meant for operations. We marched. My guide was sprinting on the stairs while I was ambling. Arriving at the 5th floor, this is where I work. Glancing, I saw a guy resting his elbows on the 4-foot wall of nurse's station. I gave a damn, as I had my problems to deal with, my vacuum-hungry stomach. My colleague continued to guide me to the 6th floor. I saw a big hall, 3 times of a tennis court. A central pavement had parted the hall into 2 sections. Each section had 25 cabins. Each cabin's partition was 5 feet high. It was made of plywood and aluminium, like in the 309. As we cruised, my guide explained, waving his hands in the mid-air, that the 3rd and 5th floor comprised of private rooms for rich and posh, but 6th comprised of cabins for middle class. Amidst explanation, he was calling each nurse by their names. I thought 10K might have been working here for really a long time, but I didn't ask him. After all, he was my senior cum guide cum first colleague. Plus, I wanted to reserve my words. We reached halfway through the pavement. I saw a green board with a white arrow pointing towards right. Below the white arrow was printed Nurse Station. Glancing towards the head of the arrow, I saw a 4-foot white wall. A black granite stone was placed on it. For writing, I guess. I'm not an architect, but this has become a tradition in Indian infrastructure. I don't know any architects. They should enlighten me if my guess is right or wrong. Anyways, these black architects and their beautiful buildings are in no way comparison to my lady's beauty. I saw a few cups placed on the black stone. There was a 3-foot high table adhered to the 4-foot wall. Various things, bundle of case sheets, white telephone, files, and few papers were on the table. Behind the wall, I saw 2 blue chairs. As I cruised through, I saw another blue chair behind the 2 unoccupied chairs. Turning my chin, I followed to the other corner of the hall with 10K. My guide rested his left elbow onto one of the aluminium cabins facing towards the dead-end, white wall. As there was no option, I too rested my right elbow facing my senior, the entrance cum exit and the nurse station. I think you might know everything as you had read the protocol paper. Anyways, I shall give you a brief idea. Grabbing a random case sheet, he started rolling the pages, explaining me. It was about a patient with kidney stones. I was watching his face as a sincere disciple until I unintentionally glanced towards the nurse's station. The view was exactly beside his right ear. And I couldn't help myself. I saw a stainless steel watch wrapped around a beautiful wrist. Long fingers of beautiful wrist were rolling bunch of short hairs. 10K was busy looking into the case sheet, enlightening me. But I had only part of attention towards. I couldn't see anything except fingers and 40 and odd hairs. Soon, short dark brown hairs and long lean light brown fingers disappeared. Reviving, I gave my full attention to my guide. Listening, I understood what he said. It was easy. After enlightenment, my senior asked me few questions. I answered pretty well. Understanding my capability and capacity, he praised me that I was good, which I had known since my schooling. As we strolled towards nurse's station, I saw a woman sitting in the chair. She seemed busy writing something. Reena? Dr. Reena. Lifting her chin, she looked towards 10K. She was wearing a pair of weird violet plastic spectacles, a recovered ridiculous trend initiated in Hollywood, borrowed into Bollywood, copied by Chinese and finally imbibed by Indians. 10K introduced our new colleague, Dr. Sameer. I wished hello with a subtle smile. Replying, she exhibited 4 incisors, which were projecting out like my maid's when I used to crack a joke or two. But the difference was Reena's were white and my maid's were light yellow. Anyways, I had no time to laugh as my legs were aching and my stomach was empty for more than 12 hours. Feeling uncomfortable, I rested my elbows on the granite. Someone proclaimed right next to my right ear, "Tea, tea." As I turned, I saw a malnourished guy holding a stainless steel flask and white plastic cups. "Sameer, would you like to have tea?" I nodded. "4 tea, please." Accepting 10K's verdict, the bony guy placed 4 cups on the 4-foot wall. I thought, thank God, at least 10K and the young tea guy have helped me at the right moment. Otherwise, I would have definitely fallen on the tiles due to lack of strength. My eyes were laid on the vacant 2 blue chairs. I didn't know whether 10K saw my eyes. He asked me whether if I wanted to sit. Immediately, I said yes. I guess I had transformed into yes man. Holding the hot cup, I walked across the wall. Leaving the chair in between, as there was a mobile phone placed on the table in front, I pulled the one from behind and sat cautiously. Amidst sipping a good quantity but a bad quality steamy tea, I heard the white telephone ring. A nurse picked. "Hello?" "Sir is here." "Yes, yes. I'm giving." Hello? Yes. I'm coming. I'm going to the 5th floor. In case of any doubts, ask Rena. She will help you. He informed the same to Rena. The remaining hot tea went quickly into his stomach and he too sped away. Maybe he was mature, but I was amateur. I could have asked for one more cup, but I was hesitant, as it was my first day, first hour of my first job. Resting elbows on the knees for support, I continued sipping in minute quantities. In fact, I became busy looking down, watching the 2-foot square-shaped white tiles, thinking, okay, in spite of a bad start, the day went fine. Amidst blinking, drinking and thinking, I saw a beautiful light brown left foot in my peripheral view, lower outer right quadrant, with long toes, red nail polish, wearing a black sandal. Then I saw a right foot. The right foot was as beautiful as the left one. But there was some sort of problem with the right sandal. Sole of the right sandal was elevated by a few millimeters. I knew it straight away, but glanced for confirmation towards the left. And I was correct. By the time my gaze rose, I could only see her back. She was wearing an apron, and she was holding a case sheet between her left fingers. Obviously, I couldn't see what was in her right. Her hairs were dark brown, like a horse tail. I rolled my eyes again towards the left hand. She was wearing the same stainless steel watch which I had seen earlier. I thought, okay, she is the one. Placing the case sheet on the table, she sat in front of the phone, between Rena and me. I guess she was uncomfortable with her right foot as she turned towards her left, crossing her legs. I confess, I can't narrate clearly as I was watching my teacup and didn't give utmost attention to her. Gently, I rose my gaze to look at her face. All I could see were 40 and odd hairs covering her left eyebrow, left eye, left eyelashes and left cheek. Pink lip gloss had glided on her thin lips. Through the crevices of her odd hairs, I managed to see her beautiful white cheek with light pink shade. I thought of slowly blowing some semi-hot humid tea air to make my view more clear, but for obvious reasons, I didn't. She was busy writing. I too was a busy man drinking an empty cup involuntarily. And I couldn't help myself watching her. I confess, I'm a junior doctor, not Shakespeare, or some passionate poet, or some intellectual author, or some admirable movie director to describe things romantically. I'm just a preschool kid in the words of romance. But I promise I shall overtake all of them. Raising her left hand towards those odd hairs, she turned towards my side. I too spanned my eyes towards the weightless cup. She subtly whirled her hairs, which were obstructing both her view on the case sheet and my view on the pink shade. Tucking them behind her left ear, she continued rolling her black pen. Her left eye was like an almond, with well-curled, evenly parted eyelashes. Though her eyebrows were thin, they were beautiful, from the edge of the nose to the outer canthus of her left eye. On the whole, I could feel was okay, average, above average. Definitely not the most beautiful girl I had seen, that too physically handicapped. Looking her face, she appeared a bit older to me. I thought, if she's married, I shouldn't comment any further. Like any other guy, I too saw for the 3 honorary licenses. Raising my eyes, I saw her scalp. No evidence was found. Lowering my gaze, I saw a bare, beautiful, lean, light brown neck. I further lowered my chin for any evidence. Nothing was visible around her toes. I ranked, okay, 5, 6, 7, yes, 7 out of 10. For consideration, 10 being Scarlett Johansson. Like any other 21st century Indian guy, I too had inculcated the habit of rating from my friends, and I couldn't help myself from imbibing the culture. After seeing her, I almost forgot that it was my first hour of my first day of my first job. I thought, instead of being nervous, I'm grading her. Amidst everything, I had even forgot that I was holding a cold, disposable, weightless cup. "Shilpa, your tea is waiting for you." I presumed, okay, Shilpa. Picking her semi-hot cup, she sat at her usual place with an identical posture. She resumed writing with her right hand while drinking tea with the other. As there was nothing else for me to do, I continued to watch this so-called Shilpa. I sensed that she had almost completed sipping her cold tea as her pink marks on the cup were getting old, dry, thick and dark. Clearing my throat, I got up and marched towards the dustbin. As I turned back, I saw Shilpa working towards me. I couldn't see her properly as she was looking inside her white cup as if she had dropped her nose ring into it. I noticed a vertical half-inch mark in the middle of her forehead. She was a couple of inches shorter than me, my eyes were pointing, her bent forehead. As she rose her gaze, I rolled my eyes towards Rena. Rena too was getting up to throw the empty cup, I guess. Rena was 5 foot plus little something. I gave a brief smile as part of good rapport. She too replied. Walking back to my chair, my eyes hopped towards Shilpa's right foot. Maybe to cross-check what her problem was, as I was a good doctor and an incredible observer. I had soaked this habit of diagnosing people with various medical conditions from our noble professors. As if adjusting my chair's position, I continued staring towards her footwear. I couldn't believe to see a couple of centimeters of black-colored sole adhered to her right sandal, while her left sandal was flat. As she was about to turn, my gaze lowered towards my blue chair, and my fingers started pretending, adjusting my chair's position. Sitting, I thought, what might be her problem? Pulling my half-charged phone, I began checking for Nova messages, but my attention was towards what was happening right next to my right. 2 ladies took their comfortable chairs, but I didn't know who was sitting beside me. After a while, I turned my head towards, of course, to confirm, Shilpa was sitting next to me. Everything was just happening. My eyes were rolling, my head was turning, my mind was cruising involuntarily, my heart was brewing unconsciously, my soul was feeling instantaneously, and I couldn't play with my phone anymore with Shilpa beside me. I turned my head right, left like a stranger. Fortunately, I found case sheets to my left, resting haphazardly beside the white telephone. Placing my phone on the table, I picked a case sheet and slowly rolled page after page after page. I was even keen on examining the quality of paper, which is my childhood habit. Amidst white pages, light pink shade was pulling my view towards her crossed legs. I further rose my gaze. I saw her beautiful hand and the watch, of course, which was elegantly placed over the case sheet for support. She was busy with her black pen, and my mind too was saying to look back at the case sheet, but my heart was pushing my chin further. Accepting my mind's verdict, I pulled my view. I was turning the pages, but my attention, I couldn't resist. I consoled myself, thinking, okay. Once we had listened to our mind, now we shall push our chin towards right and justify our heart. As soon as I decided, my chin became bold. My eyes directly landed on her busy hand, skipping all the filthy things, white floor, chair. Raising my gaze further, I saw her beautiful bare neck. As I was about to see her face, she lifted her left hand and placed her short odd hairs behind her left ear. I don't understand which beauty has invented this fashion. It makes the 21st century alpha men cruise into divine power of womankind. As she drooped her fingers, I noticed a half-inch shallow mark in front of her left ear. My eyes were busy in seeing her, but her fingers were engaged in writing. I confess, I was lost somewhere on my first day of my first job in my first hour. I guess she noticed me, or not. Suddenly, she rose her gaze, looking into my eyes. I was blown away. Humbly reviving, I looked towards Rena. Till what time should we stay here? Question just came out of nowhere. Showing my maid's teeth, it's just been an hour since you have come. And you're asking till what time should we stay? Hearing Rena, Shilpa broke into laughter, looking into my eyes. God, oh my God, she was damn beautiful. I had become an Indian idiot in front of a young, beautiful Indian woman. Reena, I was asking as I haven't had my breakfast. It's already 11:50. We shall leave in 10 minutes. Nodding, I lowered my gaze. My stomach was becoming impatient. Shilpa was still smiling, failing her long fingers against her pink lips. After a while, Shilpa asked, Reena, shall we go? I still remember she had a very feminine voice. Reena nodded. Samir, let's go. For obvious reasons, I couldn't measure the height of happiness. I hadn't known Shilpa. If I had, I would have definitely thanked her. Shilpa worked first. We followed her. There was some sort of gait abnormality too with her right foot, in spite of using some technically advanced soles which I had seen during my apprentice. There was an introductory conversation about me and Reena, like where, when, and what we had studied, etc., etc. Reaching 5th floor, we worked towards 10K. Rumen, we're going to have lunch. 10K asked me to stay with him. I nodded. Rather, I had to. Because the old man had placed me under him. Plus, Reena too kept her mouth shut, not explaining my situation. 2 ladies left. Accommodating boldness and shutting down shyness, I revealed. I'm terribly hungry. No sooner he picked the white telephone, he dialed to the canteen and ordered lunch. I was delighted by the act. 10K introduced me to his nurses. I wasn't interested in meeting them, as I had my own problems to deal with, but I pretended. Nurses too started shooting questions about my alma mater, which were directly hitting my vacuum stomach. I satisfied them with one-word answers, rarely with a smile. Time was passing by. I couldn't resist anymore. I sighed 10K. He was smart. Soon, we landed in the 3rd floor. As we walked into 309, there were no one in the A division. There was a kind of disgusting odor. Controlling, I strolled in, following 10K's steps. Shilpa was sitting on the chair. Pink lunchbox was present on her thighs. That was the odor. I hate those homemade packed lunchboxes which get fermented in due course of time, releasing a unique, disgusting aroma. I confess, smelling that repulsive aroma, I get nausea. I felt like leaving 309, but I controlled my nose, vomit, anger, and hunger. Reena was sitting on the bed towards the left of Shilpa. I and 10K settled on the other bed, towards right side of Shilpa. Sitting still like a Roman statue, I placed index finger under my nose, controlling every possible thing in my body. Young women were watching a Bollywood movie. I knew Indian channels, they play romantic movies every Sunday for young and old couples who take rest at home. Also, because TV anchors don't show up on Sundays. But my mind was really in my stomach. Accumulating hell lot of patience, I waited. After a while, a guy arrived, I presume from canteen. He was wearing a green cap, proving that the food was hygienic, but he was holding the food with black bare hands. I couldn't stop smiling. 10K received the plate and offered me with his hands. He received one more and kept it for himself. By afternoon, he had transformed into my first colleague, guide, senior, lecturer, helper, and bearer. Meals were way behind good. I just ate a quarter of my lunch. Surprised, 10K asked, "Why did you leave the food?" "Food isn't good." Looking at my obese lunch, "You shouldn't leave." He reminded me of one of my childhood friends. I explained, "Really, the food isn't good." Nodding his 10K head. Okay. Ladies continued watching us but didn't speak a word. I felt relieved, filling some stupid stuff into my empty stomach. My brain started working now. And Shilpa was appearing more beautiful. All of us resumed watching the black TV from our respective places. Amidst watching, 10K and Reena were asking about myself. All questions arose with an English alphabet W. As it was Sunday, we stayed a bit longer in 309. As the conversation progressed, I came to know. At 3 p.m., the white telephone rang. Shilpa picked. "Hello?" "Yes, I shall inform." Placing the receiver. Ruman, Jessie Nurse is calling you from 5th floor. 10K. Samir, let's go. Obeying his verdict, I stood up. We reached 5th. I guess Jessie was waiting with a case sheet between her dark short fingers. Giving instructions, 10K jotted down something. But I was busy watching the architecture, white roof, bright lights, brown furniture and white marble. Showing each other our super-saturated and unsaturated stomachs in the nurse station, we sat. Leaning back, exhaling, raising eyebrows. Any doubts? The building is impressive. Yes, it's just a year old. Exclusively for obstetrics and gynecology patients. Later included for kidney patients. And further incorporated for cancer patients because of ever-increasing demand. After hearing the last sentence of a long speech, my eyes didn't blink, my face turned pale. Soon my mouth parted. A thin tributary of salt water began to appear on either side of my temporal skin, encroaching onto the outer sides of eyebrows. My phobic state was crossing the limit. I controlled and took a while to revive back to normal. Regretting, I said to myself, damn it, what the hell is going on? Where did I exactly got placed? What's going on in my life? First day of my first job, I got placed in the place where I had got hurt in my childhood. Questions and exclamations were cruising into my mind. Before proceeding further, let me narrate briefly about my childhood and yesteryears. I was born in Mumbai on 23rd April 1988. I was the second child. I had a brother who was 8 years elder to me. Both my father and mother were doctors. 2 years later, we shifted to Hyderabad as my parents had got job offers. And then, 3 years later, they got yearly package from Dubai. This was the time when Middle East was having tons of wealth but no health. Placing both of us in a boarding school, they left for Dubai. My elder brother was 13 and I was 5. A year later, my elder brother died of colon cancer. I almost went into a state of shock because of my brother's death. My mom and dad decided to stay back in India for my recovery. As I began to show the recovery symptoms, they decided to resume their work in Dubai. Little did they know that their decision would alter their destiny and my fate. It was 12th November 1996 and they boarded the flight. That's it. What can I say? The Paleolithic Indian aviation industry calls it Chakri Dadri, mid-air collision. I was devastated by that incident, but without the support of my orthopedician uncle who lives in USA and teachers of my school, I don't think I would have recovered. Anyways, I completely recovered and I started topping in class, scoring 98 to 99 marks in all subjects by the age of 12 with cutthroat competition. The later schooling too was amazing. My American uncle had bought me a cricket kit from London. My passion for cricket increased like anything. In fact, I became man of the series for Don Bosco Inter-School Cricket Championship trophy. As I passed schooling, the +1 and +2 intermediate was super hectic. Almost every day I studied for 14 hours to get into a medical college. My uncle had gifted me a brand new Suzuki Swift car for getting an admission into medical college. That was one of the happiest moments in my life. And then, as usual, a medico's life revolves around studies, games, parties, and other wilder things. And that's it. I decided I wouldn't work in this B block. But I didn't reveal to 10K. I thought, let's inform the fatty to place me in A block. There would be general cases there, pediatric, orthopedic, cardiology. Amidst, 10K began asking questions related to medicine. I thought, how many times does this stupid senior test me? But I regulated my tributaries and answered all. Super saturated stomach. Any other queries? Unsaturated stomach. What time is it? Grasping. It's 4:30. We shall leave in half an hour. I clarified. I don't have mood to work on Sundays. But I didn't reveal my real intentions. Once you start working, you shall enjoy the Sundays. I just smiled, as I had no idea. I thought I shall work out from the old man's side and move to A block tomorrow. I heard voices of two women talking, laughing. As I looked towards the staircase, I saw Shilpa and Reena. Reena? Lumen, let's go. 2 minutes. I guess he was waiting to write something. Reena was standing opposite to 10K. Shilpa was standing opposite to me. Reena asked, "How was your first day?" Blah, blah, blah. I gave one-word answers. Deep in my mind, I was thinking to get shifted to A block, which I didn't reveal. After all, she was just a one-day stranger. In due course of time, 10K completed writing. We all walked towards 309. Lifting my bag, I said, "I'm leaving." Reena smiled. "All of us should wait till 5, then go to 216 and give a briefing about the cases to RMO. Discussing the cases, RMO signs our papers, and then we are free to go." My Glabella frowned. "What?" Pulling a paper from her blue bag, she pointed towards. Unfolding, I saw 4 columns with bold black headings. Date, in time, out time, signature. I recalled, oh, this is the reporting paper which was referred in the protocol paper. In fact, I was impressed, thinking, my God, how systematic the system is. It wasn't that I was a sneaker, but the system impressed me. Leaving my bag on the table, I sat, head bent down, thinking, idiotic first day of the first job. And these 3 colleagues? Shilpa was watching me and Reena, smiling for unknown reason. Reena asked, "Why are you smiling?" Nothing. By 5, we, the Sunday laborers, left to A block. While Shilpa and Reena were walking ahead, we strolled behind. Though 10K was narrating the alma mater of himself, my eyes were towards Shilpa's unique limping gait. It made me more and more enthusiastic. What may be her problem? I confess, there was some sort of intense enthusiasm. I thought, if the fatty asks about me, it would be an awkward feeling in front of the young ladies, as I haven't seen a case or 2. Plus, Shilpa was laughing at me since morning, as if I was an idiot. How to skip Shilpa in front of RMO? I thought. I heard a masculine tone. Rumen. Turning around, 10K started chatting with the guy. I presume another junior doctor, as he appeared like us, young, backpack, quirky conversation. A random idea just blew into my brain. As the conversation was about to end, I just gave a brief gesture, like the stars of Hollywood stretched their lips for a second and simultaneously nod, raising their eyebrows. Hello. Oila. I was waiting for the opportunity. I made sure that it would last for a while. Forcefully presenting myself, I thrusted that idiot to introduce himself. 10K was standing like a street statue. I imbibed him too into the talk. As we all dived deep, I saw Shilpa and Reena exiting 216. I sensed, okay, this is it. Nice meeting you, Mr. I have forgotten his name now. As we stepped in, the old man was still sitting at the same place, same posture, pretending busy, staring into the tiny notebook. Even I was bored of looking at it since morning, same page, same position, at same angle. Sir? Oh, come, Dr. Samir. Though there was an intense anger and sheer fear under my skin, I gave a subtle smile. As I had thought, Fatty asked, "So, how is Dr. Samir?" Smiling, "He is fine, sir." Means average? Above average? Good? Very good? How? I haven't heard so many grades incorporated into a single sentence of English literature. He's very good, sir. Standing still, watching gold-plated spectacles, I thought, I possibly didn't do anything. I was about to leave the B block, but this guy is praising. Very good. Fatty seemed satisfied. Well, you have one habit to alter. My head leaned. Sir? Punctuality. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As 10K was present beside my left ear, I couldn't say anything to old man, that I wasn't interested in B block. I thought 10K would think otherwise. I didn't want to hurt my senior, come guide, come server, come good acquaintance. So I decided to tell the old man later. In fact, I would have left the job. But the sense of first job, first day, and that too the feeling of holding the first appointment letter had deeply sunk into my blood. Hence, I wanted to work. And I did the obvious thing. 10K got the signature, but I didn't have the paper, as it was my first day. We left 216. I waited till 10K boarded his bus. I made sure the bus disappeared. I walked back to 216. Sir, I'm not interested in working in B block. Place me under you in A block. I don't like oncology. Smiling. You're a doctor. Whether interested or not, you should like everything in the medical field. No exceptions. Interrupting. I said that I had a phobic state for oncology since my childhood. I explained to him what had happened to my brother during my childhood. I even described of taking medication for the phobic illness. He asked, "Then how did you pass your graduation degree?" I kept my mouth shut. After a brief while, "So my professors knew my problem. They considered me." Fine, all right. I shall continue you in B block for tomorrow, and very soon I shall place you here." "I can't, sir." Getting up, he tapped me. "Remember, you're a doctor now. How far would you go this way? One or the other day you have to change." Reluctantly, I said, "Yes, sir," and exited 216. En route, I decided I wouldn't work here. Hell with the first appointment letter. By the time I reached home, I was tired. The sensation of Sunday made me even more. I threw my bag towards one side and the keys towards the other. Switching on the TV, I sat on the comfortable couch listening to the best of the best English songs. The music had such a soothing effect on my mind that my eyes got closed quickly. As I woke up again, my mouth was dry. Gazing at the clock, I saw 10:30. The grey remote had fallen down from my hand. English tracks were still playing. Amidst, I walked into the kitchen to find something. I was happy to find few grilled maid-made sandwiches. Now, my tongue was thriving for any sweet substance. I have this habit of eating something sweet or chocolate after food, like any other Indian citizen. I had inculcated this habit from one of my Gujarati friends. Searching, I found a plastic box containing few American chocolates. My doctor uncle had sent the box. I confess I was somehow inspired by him to become an orthopedician. Or like my aunt, a pediatrician. Anyways, I picked the chocolates. Sitting on the couch, I watched the same channel. Time was hopping from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. to 1. But I was still busy thinking, should I, shouldn't I? I recalled the old man's promise that he would place me in A block very soon. I even felt guilty. Just 24 hours have been passed since the first appointment letter. The first appointment letter was like Federer beating Sampra's record. Finally, I decided to go tomorrow and hang on for a day or two. Switching off the TV, I switched on the 5 alarms. I cleaned my brain thoroughly. As I laid, I felt irresponsible for not being on time on the first day of my first job. The word punctuality from the old man's mouth had started drifting into my mind, and soon I was gone. Unlocking my eyes, I saw 3:37 a.m. in my phone. My cold, aching, shivering limbs were making me think that the temperature might have had dropped to single digit. I even thought of having a brief, powerful nap, but I didn't, as I knew it would be noon by then in the name of nap. I had a long, warm shower. It was such a good feeling. Seeing the clock, I was on the 9th heaven. I left for the hospital. En route, there was traffic, Monday. But I managed to drive fast, with gush of cold morning air turning my skin dry. Parking my bike, I reached Vishwa's room. As I pushed 216, I saw Shilpa standing in front of the table. Oh God, she was very beautiful. Black eye shade under her eyes simply multiplied her beauty. I don't remember what she had worn. Rather, I didn't care what she wore, as I was lost in her subtle eye shade. In plain English, I lost all my senses. As Vishwa turned, I revived to my practical world. Dr. Samir? Marching ahead, I stood in front of the table. The fragrance from Shilpa was mild, but it had a profound impact on my sensitive nose. Vishwa seemed busy searching for something on the table. I glanced to see what were the great English alphabets inscribed in the tiny book. On the top of the page, date 21/11/2011, The remaining page was divided into 3 columns with red ink. In the left column, name of the block, middle column, floor number, and right column, name of the junior doctor. I thought, is this the bloody boring thing that this idiot keeps on staring all through the day through his hypermetropic spectacles? Amidst the fatty pointed a white paper towards me. He asked to fill. I received with due respect. It was junior doctor's reporting paper, which Rena had shown me yesterday. Filling slowly, I became busy. I also became busy watching all the phenomena occurring in the 216. Vishwa took the paper from Shilpa, scribbling something. Okay, Dr. Shilpa, you may go. Accepting idiotic old man's verdict, the beautiful young lady left, saying, "Thank you, sir," leaving traces of beauty in my eyes, residues of fragrance in my nose, and remnants of her feminine voice in my ears. To read further and enchant the authentic feel of the black gift box, red rose, inverted red ribbon, and novel, pre-order your physical copy at your favorite website. Author's Edition, Giftpack, black gift box plus red rose plus red ribbon plus novel, 309 pages, price Rs 297. First 5,000 orders can get a copy of original manuscript. Ebook edition with audiobook, price Rs 147. Ordinary edition, paperback, only novel, 309 pages, price Rs 197.